first group. So 300% overall improvement in creativity in 1 hour of training for children. Gautam, you're
On next.
yes. People ask, is it possible to use mind maps for science? Of course it is. That's a summary for examination purposes of chemistry, advanced chemistry. That's an example for those of you with children and interested in education. This is a little girl who was bottom of the class in science. She hated science. Top of the class in art. And she happened to have a really good teacher who said that art and science are basically the same thing. So don't worry about it. If you're bottom in science and top in art, you must be top in science as well. Taught her how to mind map. That was her first ever mind map on photosynthesis. What mark do you think she got? Top of the class. Bottom to top, just like that. My map on the study of body systems. This is for a year-long university course, in which the professor starts the year with this. At least this is high-level science. And he says to the students, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this third-year course, postgraduate course in body systems. Happily, this is all we've got to do this year. That's all we're going to do, is discuss these few systems and expand a little on each one. And your books will contain only this information. They'll contain some additional data, but this is primarily it. And he takes them quickly through, and then says, it's going to be easy, it's going to be enjoyable, wonderful to have you here, end of the first lesson. How do you think the students feel?
Wow.
Wow! Can't wait. It's obviously easy. I can memorize that. Can I get a first class in that? Of course. Easy, if you know how. Next one. This was a group of professors of medicine. And one of the problems they had was in the final exams that they set for people to become qualified doctors, they consistently, the candidates, couldn't remember the 200-300 definitions that they had to remember. And this one was one they consistently did badly on. Angina. Angina is chest pain or tightness that occurs secondarily to the inadequate delivery of oxygen to the myocardial ischemia of heart muscle. And they consistently messed it up. And they wondered how mind mapping could be applied. So we broke them into groups, and they each individually mind mapped what this meant, and then they combined the best ideas from their mind maps and produced this definition.
Cool.
Yeah, cool it is. And it's self-explanatory, isn't it? Totally self-explanatory. Angina, up there, is tightness or pain where? Where?
Lack of oxygen.
Where?
In the heart.
This is not the heart, just for your information. This is not the heart.
Chest. In the chest.
This is the chest. Right? So it's a tightness or pain
Of the chest.
in the chest, caused secondarily by what?
Lack of
Lack of oxygen to what?
the heart.
In the heart.
The heart. Myocardial ischemia or the heart. Now, if you are in a normal exam situation and the exam for your qualification as a doctor says angina, discuss. It's petrifying, isn't it? So you try to remember your definition in words, which is, as we know, not the way the brain works, which is why it's so difficult. But if you know that, I mean, is that simple? that a tightness or pain in the chest can be caused by a lack of oxygen secondarily to your heart. Is that simple? Totally simple, isn't it? So if the exam says angina, discuss, how many ways are there of discussing it? Millions. And you could start off with something like this, dear examiner. I'd be delighted to discuss myocardial ischemia with you. Angina with you. And this has to do with pain in the chest. Now, pain in the chest can be caused by a number of things. It can be caused by stress and tension, which causes restriction of the muscles around the rib cage, and this results in pains in the chest. Pain in the chest can also be caused by somebody punching you in the chest. This impact brings about bruising, contusions, etc., which restricts breathing, which causes a pain in the chest. It can be caused, these pain in the chest, by bumping into a sharp object and getting pain referred to in relation to the brain and the pain centers. Another area in which pain can be caused in the chest is when you have a secondary lack of oxygen to the heart muscle. Now, this last reason, for the many reasons of pain in the chest, we choose to call angina. So angina is fundamentally pain or tightness in the chest caused by this secondary lack of oxygen to the heart. Oh, and by the way, dear examiner, the fact that the heart is called the myocardial ischemia has nothing to do with the definition at all. I greatly look forward to my first class summa cum laude. Yours sincerely, your genius medical student and science. So the mind map gives you total clarification and total freedom to respond in any of the millions of appropriate ways. And that's first class territory. That's the first class student. This is a mind map done on a book on the brain and the body, where each main branch became what?
Chapter.
Chapter heading, correct. And this book actually was published, printed, sold, and I'm pleased to inform you that the author of this book is standing in front of you now. This is how I do all my books. Every one of the 121 plus that I've authored or co-authored has been done with mind maps, and that is one of them.
Witness.
Good mind map?
No.
Well done, group. That is an abominable mind map. Put it there just as a check. How can this be improved? In nearly all ways.
Every branch.
Images more appropriately throughout, keywords, organic branches, better use of color, coding. It looks momentarily impressive, but as a communication, thinking, learning device, not a good idea. So use that model to help you refine your own models. Look at your own mind maps objectively and constantly improve it. This is one of the most famous mind maps in the world. The most famous. Very cleverly done by a 26-year-old girl in Beijing in a publishing house, managing a 2-month all-China tour. What she did very cleverly was have a branch for all the media that was going to be involved, and all the universities, the cities in which it was taking place. And she sent this mind map to every single one of those branches. So what do you think the newspaper or television or the web bit here did with the mind map? Published it. They all published it and said, by the way, we're here. That's us. So over 350 million people saw this mind map. This is a mind map, which is a pre-mind map, a proto-mind map. It was done before the software had been fully developed. But this was 9/11. And this mind map was done on the day after 9/11, where at the headquarters of Con Edison, all the top people in New York were gathered. The police, politicians, the finance, the businesses, the public transport, public utilities, hospitals, schools, everyone. And the first thing that the individual who was running this session did was to say, all right, let's mind map the disaster. We know it's a disaster. We know it's a catastrophe. We know New York is hemorrhaging, so let's cool it. And just mind map what actually is the disaster. And they mind mapped it, and when they'd done that, they said, okay, now how are we going to address this? And all of them contributed individual mind maps, how they were going to address the fact that the train systems were totally disrupted, how they were going to address the fact that the stock exchange was bleeding $1 trillion a day. How were they going to address it? And they did sub-mind maps. Each of them had them as operational guides, and they solved the problems that they did solve in, they estimated, 4 times what they would normally have done. This mind map is still up in the headquarters of Connes. This is a mind map by a sheikh on his vision for his country. And this mind map is up on his palace wall, and he observes it every day as a reminder that this is his vision. It's also a very good mind map demonstrating that the mind map itself is the meta-language, and the individual key words are the secondary level language. This is a mind map on a strategy. It's a strategy outline for a major energy and industrial hub. The hub being from the Gulf to Japan. The Gulf to Japan. And that organization, that company, is now in operation successfully. This is the biggest mind map in the world for a little while. This is a mind map done by Dr. Michael Stanley, the head of aeroplane development in Boeing. And this one was a 25-foot long mind map that outlined how to build an aeroplane. Boeing had been losing millions due to incommunication, inefficiency, and so on. So he built this giant mind map and took all his engineers through it, telling them where their particular part was, how it related to the others. And he saved, not 11, in fact, that's a typo, it was $12 million in 9 months. And he was awarded the Employee of the Year from 60,000 employees. One of my favorite mind maps. This is a mind map done by a young man in Taipei, Taiwan. And it's a memory mind map. It's a mind map of his relationship with his true love. And all the wonderful things they've done together. While he was doing it, he realized that he actually wanted to marry her. So he added to it extra branches and areas where he would actually want to do things for future memory. So it was a memory of what they'd done and a memory projected of what he wanted them to do. And he told me that when he proposed, instead of getting down on his knee and saying, "My darling, will you marry me?" he got down on his knee and he said, "My darling, I have a mind map to show you." And he did, and she said yes. Who is that? Algor, well spotted. Anything interesting about that picture from Time magazine? Yeah, very good. The frog and the mess are interesting, but what's really interesting, just above his head, what's that? The mind map. And the article in Time actually said that he uses the mind map to control his global organizations and initiatives. There you see it slightly more clearly. Some of you asked me what kind of companies there are.